Hello, everyone. My name is always Asma. Welcome to another episode of Tooways to Skin a Cat, a show where we talk career experiences, entrepreneurship, and investments. The main aim is to show that there's more than one way to be successful other than just climbing the corporate ladder. Now, we are live on LinkedIn and YouTube, and the show will be available on podcast by tomorrow. For those who are listening on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify or on whichever podcast you're listening to, please leave a rating for us. Now, if you're watching us live, drop a one in the comments so that we know we're not talking to ourselves, and drop a two in the comments if you're watching the recording. My guest for this week is Senzo Ndlangamandla, who's a chartered accountant and is also the head of department in accounting at the Walter Sisulu University. Senzo, thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much, Ways, and it's good to be on your platform tonight.
So let's jump straight in. Tell us your story. Where do you come from? And maybe even outside of work, who is Senzo Ndlangamandla? Give us the backstory.
Cool, thank you. Senzo is half Swati, half Zulu. One of my parents is from Eswatini. So I did my primary in Eswatini and only moved to South Africa from my high schooling and my tertiary education. I'm from a town called Pongola in northern KwaZulu-Natal. And I studied at the University of Johannesburg for my undergrad and postgrad, and I stayed in Johannesburg for my articles. And then immediately I moved down to the Eastern Cape in Umtata to start my career at Walter Sisulu, and this is my 12th year now here.
So 12 years. So you half Zulu, half Swati, and you ended up in the Eastern Cape. That's an interesting combination, that one.
Very interesting.
And that was a very summarized version. But outside of work, what do you do?
So outside of work, yeah, I'm such a boring human being. So there's not much outside of work that I do, but I mean, I have, a relatively new hobby in farming. So I mean, I do some small scale, rural and informal farming. I've got pigs, chickens, a small garden, and some sheep. I mean, it was just to get something to keep myself busy with this side, because I mean, family is far. So on weekends, I can have something that I can, spend my time on and just unwind a bit. And it has actually proven to be quite a therapeutic something for me. After long hours at work, either in the afternoons and as well as on weekends, that's where I spend most of my time. And outside of that, like I said, I'm just that boring human being. There's nothing much. I do chill with friends from time to time, obviously. I'm also trying to pursue my studies as well on the side. I do also run, an accounting and audit practice. So those are some of the things that just keep me occupied.
Okay. The 12 years in academia is not a quick stint. For those people who are maybe they either in articles now or they entering into articles, did you always know you were going to end up in academia, or was it one of those last minute decisions and you fell in love with it when you got there?
Probably yes and no. I do think there has always been the passion. I mean, going as far back as in high school, I would take a few informal, sessions with my class when the teacher is not in that particular day. Even when we were during my university days, my friends and I, who had gone to the same school, we would go back to our school and do some extra classes for, the grade 12 and grade 11 learners. And I mean, when I was a student, I also, was a tutor and I was a marker, and I also stayed on to do my academic articles at UJ after, my CTA. That's what was called at the time. It's PGTA now. So I guess then, one can see then from all of that probably there were always signs that I have a heart for that education space. So when the time came for me to make a decision about my career post articles, academia was definitely one of them. So it was either academia or public sector. But I guess academia, caught me first, and I stayed. And 12 years later, I'm still here. I can't lie and say I'll be here forever. I don't know. I guess I will let the universe decide where it places me, whether it wants me to stay here for.
It looks like we might have some technical difficulties. Senzo did mention that the signal in Queenstown can be sketchy Numtata can be sketchy at times. So I'll just give him a minute to come back on. But yeah, interesting story so far. I mean, you don't see many people from Swatini or KZN ending up in the Eastern Cape. So far so good. Let's give him a moment. I know it can be a little bit tricky, but I'm learning a lot. So it's always interesting to learn his story. So let's give him a chance to get back on board and see. There's no load shedding at least. So at least we know it's not load shedding. But yeah, just to give you an idea of what I'll be speaking to him about. So he's obviously the head of Department of Accounting Sciences at Walter Sisulu University. Also runs his own accounting and auditing practice. So I definitely want to ask him about how he manages both, because that can bring up some questions, I guess. And here he's back. So let me just add him. There we go. Senzo, you back?
I do apologize for that, Tooways.
Not a problem. I was chatting to the audience on my own. In the meantime, just giving them an idea of what I was going to ask you next. So
thank you.
Don't worry. So maybe let's use it as an opportunity to jump to my next question. And also for the audience, if you have questions, please add them to the comment section so that we don't miss them. But you mentioned it earlier, you are running your own accounting and audit practice. So you're basically running a practice and having a full-time job. That can be tricky, number one, and employers don't always look favorably at that. So how did you pull that off is maybe my question.
Yeah, I guess, it's the space in which I work within the university. The university does have a private work policy. So you are allowed to do private work as long as it aligns with, your work in the university. So, I teach auditing, I teach commerce modules. So then the practice, enhances my practical exposure in many aspects of the disciplines that I teach. So that was then approved. That is private work that I can do. So once you've got private work that is approved, the policy grants you 8 hours in a week for you to do private work. It's not always 8 hours that I spend, sometimes it's less, sometimes it's slightly more, but I do most of the business work after hours and also on weekends, but during the day as well, where I can, I do squeeze it in. And I think I'm actually quite blessed to have the team that I have at S&B, my accounting practice, because they are actually carrying the business. I only just come in here and there where I'm needed.
And I think the people who benefit the most are your students, because I remember a lot of people end up saying lecturers are very theoretical. They don't know anything about practice. And then you've got that experience in practice. So I think it's, to the benefit of your students more than anything.
Absolutely. And I think, it has helped me even with setting. I use most of my scenarios are based on case studies, relating to some of the clients I do work for. So it helps me as well.
I want to ask you about, I see on your LinkedIn profile, you are a One Young World ambassador. What is that? Can you tell the audience a little bit about that?
Yeah. So as part of the prize, the top 35 under 35 prize, I then got to attend the Young One World Summit, which is an annual event in the, I think it's around spring each year, where that brings together young people or young leaders from across the globe. So once you've attended and participated in that summit, you automatically become an ambassador for that foundation. So that's how there's nothing extraordinary that I did outside of just attending and participating in the summit. So that's how I got then to become an ambassador for One Young World.
And is it like a one-day summit, or is it like over a few days?
No, yeah, it's like it's a 3 to 4 day summit. Last year's one was in Canada, in Montreal. Yeah, so I got to, be there, and thanks to SAICA, obviously, for sponsoring that whole trip.
That's amazing, because you made it sound like it was a small one-day event. I just needed to make it clear that we are not talking about a once-off roadshow.
No, it's quite a significant and a big event. I met some connections there, some of which I still interact with even now. So yeah.
And tell me about your experience at SAICA Top 35. What was the experience like, and would you recommend others apply?
It was such a great and amazing experience. I guess, for someone like myself who doesn't really enjoy being in the spotlight, it was quite, there was a bit of discomfort. But I had to embrace it, and just enjoy it as well, because no one gets to be then part of the top 35. From a pool of plus 400 applicants, maybe. So it was quite a humbling experience as well. I did quite enjoy it. But like I said, it's just being, of course, in the limelight that I struggled with a bit. And I do, encourage, young professionals that are in this space to consider it. I think apart from just, being a winner, I think the whole experience, there's a lot that I gained. And even when I went to the event, I didn't think I was even going to, come out, the overall winner, let alone a category winner. But I actually quite learned a lot from that whole journey of putting together, because I actually even understood myself more, because I needed to put together a portfolio of evidence about the work that I do. So it was a good opportunity for me to just reflect on what I'm doing and the impact of the work that I do. So then coming out as the winner for me was really a bonus, I can say.
Okay. I've just highlighted a comment from Tooways, who's following in your footsteps, also doing the academic trainee of the honors, and also looking to go into academia post-qualifying. So you're
Great.
definitely inspiring some people there.
Awesome. I like that.
Now, I've just realized while I was talking to you, I've asked a lot of people, like, how was the experience? And they all say it was great. But nobody's actually explained to me what does it entail? What did you do, like, month on month? So now I'm going to put you on the spot and ask you to explain that one to me, just so that you can let the audience know what is the process like, so they know what they're getting themselves into.
For that top 35 under 35 awards.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think I'm just not sure when exactly in the year they opened the applications. I think it's around July or August. So you can either self-nominate or someone can nominate you. And I mean, there are various categories and a criteria as well that SAICA, has sort of set, which then they use to decide on who then makes it to the top 35. So it's that nomination, and then you then get informed whether or not you made it to the top 35. And I think it's after that then I think the journey then really begins, because now you need to provide SAICA with a bit more than what you had provided in your initial submission. And there's then the actual judging. I think that's what actually, I wouldn't say traumatized me per se, but yeah, the nerves really, I struggled a bit with the judging, because you walk in and there's a panel of, about 12 to 15 judges, in this big room. And it was quite intimidating for me personally. So there's then the judging that then happens, where you then present yourself and they get to ask questions. So it's more of now in terms of what you submitted and now speaking to that. And I think it's after that then that they then get to make the final decision in terms of who the overall winner would be. So it's I think from when the nominations close till the date when they decide, I think it's about a month and a half or so. So it's not such a long process, but I mean, it's really just about the work that you do. I don't think it's about now creating, a profile about Senzo that does not exist. It's just documenting it and presenting that. And sometimes we do underestimate the impact of the work that we do, because maybe we don't actually take the time and pause and reflect on it. And I'm one such a person. That's why I was even shocked when I was named the overall winner. And I mean, I had not even nominated myself, but a colleague did not nominated me. So I think it's for that reason ways that I encourage young people to apply. You never know. You may think what you're doing is not making much impact, when actually the impact is far greater.
And with that, what is that portfolio of evidence like? Because it sounds like you have a month and a half to do it, so you don't have that much
Yes.
time. Is it a 1-pager? Is it a 20-page document? Is it a what? Give me some meat there.
Yeah. So it depends on the nature of work that you do. So it's like when you write a statement, you must then attach something that supports the statement. It's like in research, when you make a statement, someone said this, where's the reference? So it's more like referencing all the statements you're making about yourself. Where's the proof? And so it's things like that. I mean, if you say maybe I assisted this company that I'm working for to grow, they were making annual turnover of only 10 rands when I joined, but now we make annual turnover of 50 rands. Where is that? Give us proof. So it's more just anything that supports whatever statement about yourself that you make. Okay. I hope that helps.
Oh, that definitely helps. It gives this is not as vague as before. I think the people have no excuses now because they know what's coming. So as we come towards the end of the session, are there any last few words from you or anything you'd like the audience to know that we haven't discussed yet?
Just generally.
Up to you. Whatever you think will help the audience.
Yeah, I guess for me, it's just to encourage people, young people, to follow their passion. I mean, especially those that are in this profession. And also, I guess, for us to realize that, being just a chartered accountant or just an auditor alone, I don't think it's no longer enough. Looking at, the ever-evolving landscape of the profession. The profession, continues to be relevant. I think there are no doubts about that, but I think you are a chartered accountant, then what? What's your area of specialization? So probably one just finding their niche area of passion and developing themselves in that area so that you can be an extraordinary chartered accountant, that CA, but that can also do X and Z. I think that's very important because there are questions about whether or not there will still be jobs for CAs, for auditors. There definitely will be, but then I don't think an ordinary CA, I don't think an ordinary auditor. Definitely, those might face a bit of a challenge. So I guess for me, really just a message to those that are aspiring chartered accountants or auditors or anyone within the profession, even not just a chartered accountant per se. Let me just say an accountant, because there's many I guess categories of accountants. That's I only have a message for young aspiring accountants. Unfortunately for me and you, always no message for us from me tonight.
For the audience, I hope you heard what he said. He said, follow your passion, not your friend's passion, not your colleague's passion, not your lecturer's passion, your passion. I think that's a great way for the show to end. The show has been live on YouTube and should be available on podcast by tomorrow. If you're watching on YouTube or listening on the podcast and you feel that it's added value, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click on that notification bell to get automatically notified when the next episode comes out. Senzo, thank you so much for sharing your journey and your knowledge with us.
No, I must thank you always for inviting